Is we've been taught to use our minds as though they are the creation of our life, as they are the control of our life, as though they are the control mechanism for creating our lives, but in actuality they're the control mechanism for destroying the possibilities that are greater in our lives than what our parents had and what their parents had and what their parents had. Your mind is actually a mechanism for control, not a mechanism for possibilities. So what you want to realize is your mind is like a big card catalog. And what it does is every experience that it's had that it is judged as okay and acceptable is in there. Now when you have a new experience or a new possibility come up, like let's say a new way of doing your business or a totally new thing that you can do in your relationship, your mind goes, hold on, I'll be right back. And it goes through every single card in those thousands of drawers that those cards are in, you know, like an old-fashioned library card catalog. And if it hasn't already pre-selected this and said it's okay, it goes, no, don't do it. And so what happens is if you're used to using your mind for creating your life or controlling your life, as the case may be, what ends up happening is you end up rejecting anything that it hasn't cognitively okayed you for. You get what's happening here? All the possibilities that exist beyond here get rejected instantly. And then you have to work to try to bring them into your reality, judging you the whole time for doing them, hoping they work out while thinking that they won't, because your mind has said, oh, that's not valuable. So why do you have this constant mind chatter going? Well, two things. Number one, you're really aware. 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't belong to you. You pick them up like a big psychic radio receiver from people around you all the time and always have ever since you were conceived and you were this big. From the moment you were conceived, you were doing this, and it makes you talk like this because you no longer have any awareness of your world and you're only aware of other people's worlds, and it feels really weird. From the moment you were conceived, you have been taking the thoughts, feelings, emotions, judgments, rightnesses, wrongnesses, and points of view of other people and trying to institute them and make them yours so you could fit in here and be like everyone else here. It's part of your greatest capacity, and unfortunately it's one of your greatest capacities you've been using against you. Why do you have this mind chatter? Because you pick up everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions primarily. If you want to get rid of the mind chatter, ask who does this belong to? For 3 days to every thought, feeling, emotion, judgment, rightness, wrongness, and point of view you have for 3 days. Some of you just had a some of you just went into shock, let's put it that way. Anaphylactic maybe, yeah. Or apoplexy. You had something really strange go on when I said that, because you realize how many thoughts are in your head. Literally, I walk around with no thoughts in my head. I know some of you would say that makes you an airhead. But what it gives me is a capacity to be present with everyone and everything I come across. Anything that I encounter in my life, I can be present with. What does that mean? Well, rather than having all these thoughts go, how should I do this? What should I do? What should I do? I'm present. Somebody says something, I respond from the presence and the energy of what's there in the moment for the person and for me, and realize that I can't say something that they can't hear, so I'll say exactly what they can hear. And the number of times somebody has said to me, wow, oh my God, you told me exactly what I needed to hear. That is so amazing. How did you know? Part of the reason I knew is because I don't have all this mind chatter in my head blocking what I really am aware of that I can contribute to people. See, this mind chatter, it's number one, please don't see it as a wrongness. One of the biggest difficulties is you've been judging you for everything you have that's a capacity. What if every strongness of you has been determined a wrongness? Let's put it a different way. What if everything you've called a wrongness of you is actually a strongness of you? What if everything you've called a wrongness of you is actually a strongness of you? So for example, this mind chatter thing, what if it's actually a level of awareness you've never acknowledged? Oh, so does that mean that you actually know more about the energy of where people are functioning? Does that mean that you actually know more about the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and judgments people have than you've ever wanted to acknowledge? If you were willing to acknowledge that, would it allow you to be more successful in your relationships? Would it allow you to be more successful in your business negotiations? Would it allow you to be more successful at work and everywhere else and with your family? Okay, get this. How does this work? Well, see, because you're so aware energetically All of these things, these thoughts, feelings, emotions, judgments, rightnesses, wrongnesses, points of view, all of those things are an energy. Once again, we're back to that word energy. For me, it's really practical. Not only the word, but the whole concept of it. So what happens is, with that level of awareness of the energy of things, here's how, I love it. There's like cotton flying through the air everywhere. It's amazing. Okay, and I think it's cotton. It flies like cotton. I don't know. Maybe there'll be shirts landing eventually. Okay, so it's like Avatar. You know those little seeds in Avatar? Oh, that's what's happening. How does it get any better than that? It's awesome. And you may be able to see them floating behind me or around. How cool is that? Okay, so it's kind of like this. Get the difference between waking up on one of those mornings where you feel like you're on top of the world and it feels like the world is your oyster and you feel alive and you feel thrilled to be alive and you perceive a sense of possibilities and you're like, yes, I can create, I can generate, I can do everything I want to do and more. This is so awesome. And notice how creative and generative that is, and things just show up like that. That's an energy, right? And then there's this other energy where you wake up and you're like, oh no. And it feels like the elephant is sitting on your head and you don't know what to do and you feel constricted. And you know, somebody comes into your room and they're like, hey, how are you? And you're like, eh. You know, your wife is like, hey, sweetie, I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And you're like, eh. And you're not receiving, you're not gifting, you're not contributing as much as you could, you're not as joyful as you could be. Those are two totally different energies. And so what ends up happening is you end up, it's like, the energy that you function from in any particular moment determines the reach you have, so to speak. So for example, when you're in one of those contracted states where you're less happy and you're not receiving, the energetic reach is about like this. Well, when you're in one of those states where you have no barriers to anyone or anything, no judgment, total receiving, total communion and connection with everyone and everything, your reach becomes more like this. And when you choose from that space of being, what ends up happening is you end up being able to create a tsunami of possibilities just by moving your little finger.